Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to lecture number 5. The topic of today's lecture is Responsibilities of Youth. It's a speech by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I have taken this topic from unit number 1 of your new English book, that is a test edition. I hope you all have bought it. This is Sumaira Zahid from Army Burnhal College for Girls. It's a beautiful portrait of Quaid-e-Azam. Now some facts about Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, 1876 to 1948, was the first Governor General of Pakistan. His great achievement was the organizing of Indian Muslims to demand a separate state, which culminated in the creation of Pakistan, the world's largest Islamic state. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was born in Karachi on December 25, 1876. His family were mostly merchants and members of the Khoja sect of Muslims. He went to England in 1892 to study law, and after his return in 1896 he practiced in Bombay. He joined the Indian National Congress, giving his support to the moderate faction led by Gopal Krishna Gokhale, whom he greatly admired. Jinnah was also a member of the Muslim League, and he worked for greater Hindu-Muslim unity. He broke with the Congress in 1920 with the advent to leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, whose methods he deplored as unconstitutional and as based on an appeal to the mob. Jinnah went to London in 1931 to take up a law practice there. In 1934, Jinnah was persuaded to return to India by the changes brought about in the political situation by the proposals for the new constitution, which resulted in the India Act of 1935. Convinced that Muslims would become second-rate citizens in a political society dominated by the votes of the Hindu majority, he succeeded in revitalizing the Muslim League as an effective political organization after the elections in 1937, in which the Indian National Congress had won large majorities. Jinnah's success was particularly striking as he had few of the characteristics of a popular politician. A friend described him as tall and stately, formal and fastidious, aloof and imperious of manner, and he had few personal friends. His first wife, a child bride, had died when he was a student, and his second wife, who was a Parsi and half his age, separated from him in 1928. She died in 1929. His only close personal contacts after this seem to have been his daughter and later his sister, Muhtarma Fatima Jinnah. Jinnah's energy, integrity, and relentless logic made him the spokesman of Indian Muslims, earning him the title Quaid-e-Azam. By 1945, when Indian independence was imminent, neither the British government nor the Indian National Congress could find a political solution for India without Jinnah's agreement. His insistence that Hindus and Muslims constituted two separate nations became the central fact of all discussions, and the partition of India on August 15, 1947, into India and Pakistan was the fruit of his argument that Muslims must have their own homeland. Jinnah was the first Governor General of Pakistan, and while the office in other parts of the British Commonwealth was ceremonial, his enormous popularity and skill made his authority virtually absolute. He tackled the many problems facing the new nation with zeal, but he was already worn out by the long struggles. He died on September 11, 1948, leaving to his successors the task of consolidating the nation he had done so much to create. This lesson is actually a speech delivered by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah at the Dhaka University convocation on 24th March 1948, and it was recorded by Radio Pakistan, Dhaka. He addresses the students and he stresses on the role of students in nation building. This is the actual text of the speech. He starts with, Mr. Chancellor, he addresses the Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, when I was approached by the Vice Chancellor with a request to deliver the convocation, I hope you all know what is the convocation. It's all sorry. It's a large formal assembly of people, or you can call it a graduation ceremony when students are being awarded at the end of their courses or college session. Address. I made it clear to him that there were so many calls on me, like so many people are inviting me, that I could not possibly prepare a formal convocation address. And then Quaid is saying, I am not able to address or deliver a speech properly related with the convocation on an academic level with regard to the great subjects with which university deals, such as arts, like you people are teaching subjects like arts, history, philosophy, science, law, and so on. I cannot deliver a speech on all these subjects. I did, however, promise to say a few words to the students on this occasion, and it is in fulfillment of that promise that I will address you now. So I am not delivering a proper speech on some subjects. I am delivering it generally to say a few words or to advise the students. First of all, let me thank the Vice Chancellor for the flattering means very charming, very attractive, very impressive words or phrases which he has used for me, terms in which he referred to me. Like I'm thankful to him for all these flattering words. Mr. Vice Chancellor, whatever I am and whatever I have been able to do, I have done it merely only as a measure of duty which is incumbent, which is necessary, which is important upon every Muslim to serve his people honestly and selflessly. Like whatever I have done, that is my duty for my nation, for Muslims. In addressing you, I am not here speaking to you as head of the state, like I am not speaking to you as the Prime Minister or President of the state, but as a friend, like I am speaking to you as a friend and as one who has always held you in affection. I have always loved and cared students of my nation. Many of you have today got your diplomas, degrees, and I congratulate you, just as you have won the Laurels awards, so many awards which are granted to students during the student life or during the college life in your university, and qualified yourselves. So I wish you all success in the wider and larger world that you will enter after this arena of college. Definitely you will enter a new world. Many of you have come to the end of your scholastic means educational career, and stand at the threshold beginning or start of a new life. Unlike your predecessors coming before you, people before you, fortunately leave this university to enter life under a sovereign, a ruler, independent state of your own. Like you will be lucky that now you are entering an independent state of your own. It is necessary that you and your other fellow students fully understand the implications, the conclusions of the Revolutionary. Revolutionary means someone who is trying to bring about a change. Change that took place on the birth of Pakistan. We have broken the shackles, the chains of slavery, subjugation, bondage. We are now a free people. Our state is our own state. Like now, we are entering a state which is totally independent state of Pakistan. Our government is our own government of the people. I hope you have heard the famous quote of Abraham Lincoln, in which he says, democracy means government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So here, Muhammad Ali Jinnah is referring to the government of the people, means the state which is totally run by government, where there is democracy prevailing and it's a democratic state. Responsible to the people of the state and working for the good of the state, like such government that works for the betterment of the people of the government. Freedom, however, does not mean license. License here means that you are free to do anything. No, it does not mean. It does not mean that you can now behave just as you please. Whatever you want, you can do. No, you cannot. And do what you like. No, not at all. Irrespective, not caring of the interests of other people of the state. Like you cannot do whatever you want. You have to take care of other people as well. A great responsibility rests on you, and on the contrary, now more than ever it is necessary for us to work as a united and disciplined nation. Like now, this is a responsibility of all of us to work for a united nation, for our own nation to be united. What are now required of us all is constructive. Constructive means building, positive, like a constructive spirit should be there. A positive spirit should be among us and not the militant or violent spirit. Like we should not be violent now. We should be very constructive. Of the days when we were fighting for our freedom, like it's okay when we were fighting for freedom, so we were behaving like militants, but not now. It is far more difficult to construct than to have a militant spirit for the attainment to get freedom. Like if you want to attainment means to get, like if you want to get freedom, you need to be having a positive spirit inside you rather than a militant spirit. It is easier to go to jail or fight for freedom than to run a government. Then he says, he brings a comparison, like it's very easy to go to jail and to, like if you are fighting for freedom, and you can go to jail as well. But it's very difficult to run a government without going to jail or without bringing any riots in the country. Let me tell you something of the difficulties that we have overcome and of the dangers that still lie ahead. Like I must tell you about the difficulties which are coming before us and those which we have overcome. Thwarted means to prevent someone from accomplishing something. In their desire to prevent the establishment of Pakistan, like so many people were against us, they never wanted that we should build our own country, Pakistan. Our enemies turned their attention to finding ways and means to weaken and destroy us. Like we had so many enemies who were always trying to weaken us and who were always trying to destroy us and who were always a hindrance in our going to getting a free life or freedom. Thus, hardly had the new state come into being when came the Punjab and Delhi Holocaust. Holocaust is actually Holocaust means the destruction on a mass level or slaughter on a mass level. Thousands of men, women and children, they were mercilessly, brutally butchered, and butchered means killed, and millions were uprooted. Uprooted means to move someone away from their hometowns. Like when we were heading towards partition, so many people at that time they were killed in Punjab and in Delhi as well. From there, and some people they were uprooted, like they were forced to leave their places and migrate to other places. Over 50 lakhs of these arrived in the Punjab within a matter of weeks. So, as a result, 50 lakhs migrants, they migrated to Punjab during the partition time of subcontinent. The care and rehabilitation means restoring someone to normal life, like those people whom even today we call in our language Mahajar, those people who have migrated from India to Pakistan. They needed, obviously at that time, they badly needed restoration. So he is talking about it. The care and rehabilitation of these unfortunate, unlucky refugees. Refugees, I have just told you, people who are forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. These are called refugees. You are quite aware of Afghan refugees as well in these times. Stricken, seriously affected in body and in soul. Body and soul, physically they are affected, and mentally as well. Obviously they were disturbed. They had to leave their land and then to come to a new land, like in Pakistan. They had to come to Pakistan, which was totally a new land for them. Presented problems, and they had to face many problems which might well have destroyed many a well established states. Like well established means well developed. So these refugees had to face so many problems. But those of our enemies who had hoped to kill Pakistan at its very inception, the moment it came into being, and those our enemies who wanted to destroy it by these means were disappointed. So most of our enemies, they got disappointed. Not only has Pakistan survived the shock of that upheaval, a violent change or disruption, but also it has emerged, it has appeared stronger, more chastened, very humble and better equipped than ever. Like in spite of the problems created, or the like so many problems given to Pakistan by the enemies, still Pakistan appeared as a very independent and strong nation. There followed in rapid succession, quickly, one after the other, many difficulties came the moment we got our homeland or a separate homeland. These difficulties were such as withholding. Withholding means refusal to give something that is due, especially withholding by India of our cash balances. Like India did not give us our cash balances of our share of military equipment. India did not give us our military equipment share, and the institution of an almost complete economic blockade of your province. Your province here means he is talking to Bangladesh, as he is addressing there in Dhaka, so he is addressing Bangladesh and Dhaka province as well. They have not so far given us all these things which were at that time agreed by the Britishers that Pakistan should be given. I have no doubt that all right thinking men in the Indian Dominion means Indian control, deplore, disapprove these happenings. Then he's saying there are so many people in India, they also deplore these happenings, and I'm sure the attitude of the mind that has been responsible for them will change. So many people will change with the passage of time, but it is essential that you should take note of these developments, like what is happening here in Pakistan, what is happening in Bangladesh. At that time, Bangladesh was a part of Pakistan. They stress the importance of continued vigilance. Vigilance means to keep an eye or to watch on our part. So, like they are always stressing, we should be very careful. Your main occupation, now he's talking to students, main job or main purpose should be in fairness, honestly or in honesty to yourselves, in fairness to your parent. Like you should be fair, You should be honest to yourself, you should be honest to your parents, and you should be honest to your government or your state to devote your attention solely, totally, wholly to your studies. This is your most important duty, dear students, that you should be focusing towards your studies. We always keep on telling you, but this was the phrase, this was the advice which was first delivered by our beloved Qaid-e-Azam. It is only thus that you can equip. Equip means you can embellish, you can beautify yourselves for the battle of life that lies ahead of you. So beautiful lines delivered by Qaid-e-Azam. Like, you can only beautify yourself, you can only enable yourself to face the harsh realities of life by studies and education. Only thus will you be an asset, a useful thing, and a source of strength, power, and pride. Nation would be proud of you to your state when you are totally literate and educated. Only thus you can assist it in solving the great social and economic problems that confront it. Like, you can help your nation confront or face the problems coming in the fields of economics or social fields only because of education. That confront it and enable it to reach its destined. Destined means what you are supposed to get or certain to get. Goal, you are supposed to get your goal, your aim in life among the most progressive and strongest nations of the world. Like, you can be the most progressive and strongest nations member only because of education. My young friends, I would therefore like to tell you a few points about which you should be vigilant and beware. Vigilant, be careful. Firstly, beware of the fifth columnists. Fifth columnist stands for, a fifth column is actually any group of people who undermine a larger group from within, usually in favor of an enemy group or nation. Like, you need to be careful from enemies within your nation, among ourselves. Secondly, guard against and weed out, remove unwanted plants, but here it means remove something that is not important. Selfish people, especially remove selfish people who only wish to exploit you so that they may swim, they may fulfill their aims, or they may enjoy, or they may flourish. So you have not to listen to the selfish people. Thirdly, learn to judge who are really true and really honest and unselfish servants of the state, who wish to serve the people with heart and soul and support them. Like, now this is your job. You have to find out who are the true servers of the nation. I assure you, divided you fall, united you stand. It's a beautiful idiomatic phrase. That means if you are united, nobody is going to break you. But if you are not united, everybody will be able to break you into pieces. He stresses the youth to be continuously careful because the enemies of Pakistan cannot see Pakistan a self-dependent country. There is another matter that I would like to refer to. My young friends, hitherto means until now, you have been following the rut. Rut means a long, deep track made by the repeated passage of the wheels of vehicles. But here means like you are in habit of. You get your degrees, and when you are thrown out of the university means when you get out of the university in thousands of numbers, all that you think and hanker means you wish to or you desire to get is government service. Like whenever you leave, whenever you graduate, you always wish to get a government service. As your Vice Chancellor has rightly stated, the main object of the old system of education And the system of government existing hitherto was really to have well trained, well equipped clerks, like your vice chancellor has also remarked on it. Like, this is why you all want to become clerks, like when you want to join government service or you want to have government job, so that means you just want to become clerks. Of course, some of them went higher and found their level. There are some students who went higher, but the whole idea was to get well qualified clerks. Civil service, CSS, was mainly staffed means provided or full of, by the Britons, and the Indian element was introduced later on in it. Like, civil service was totally staffed in such a way by the Britons and the Indians. There is totally an Indian element in it, and the whole like it was always granted to Britishers and Indians, and there is an Indian element as well introduced into it, and it went up progressively. Well, the whole principle, the rule was to create a mentality. The purpose of this government service or asking students to join government service was to create a mentality or a psychology and a state of mind that an average man, when he passed his BA or MA, was to look for some job in government. Like, they created such a mentality that the students, after getting their graduation, bachelor's or master's degrees, they should join government service. If he had it, he thought he had reached his height, and there was this mentality prevalent amongst the students that if they got the government service, so that means they have got the like it was a kind of high achievement for them. There is an immense scope in technical education. Now he is stressing on technical education. What is technical education? Practical or mechanical skills. For we want technically qualified people very badly. You can learn banking, commerce, trade, law, etc., which provides so many opportunities, so many new arenas you can get open for you. Already you find that new industries are being started, new banks, new insurance companies, new commercial firms are opening, and they will grow as you go on. Now he's stressing on the students that they should consider technical education as well, because it is very, very important for the growth or progress of the nation. Now these are avenues, arenas and fields open to you. Think of them and divert means concentrate towards or divert your attention towards them as well, and believe me, you will there benefit yourselves more than by merely only going in for government service. Like, you will be more benefited if you are attaining technical education as compared to if you are joining government service and remaining there in what I should say a circle of clerkship. It's a beautiful phrase in Urdu as well, idiomatic phrase. We use it in Urdu, and it is called Babugiri. A clerk is called a Babu, and it is totally called Babugiri. So if you want to be a Babu or you want to be a clerk, so that means that circle is still going on and on. Working there from morning till evening in an office in most dingy means very gloomy, drab and uncomfortable conditions. You will be far more happy and far more prosperous, very well established, if with far more opportunities to rise. Opportunities means chances as well, chances to rise. If you take to commerce and industry, like if you are getting into commerce and industry, you will prosperous more as compared to if you are joining an office as a clerk, and be helping not only yourself but also your state. I can give you one instance, one example as well, and that is, I know a young man who was in government service. 4 years ago he went into a banking corporation on 200 rupees because he had studied the subject of banking, and today he is a manager in one of their firms and earning 1500 rupees a month in just 4 years. These are the opportunities to have, and I do impress upon you. I force or I want from you forcefully now to think in these terms, like think about technical education as well. Finally, I thank you again, Mr. Chancellor, and particularly you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for the warm welcome you have given me and the very flattering, very charming, very attractive phrases and words that were used by Vice Chancellor during the welcome speech. So personal references made by you. I hope, nay means no, I am confident that the East Bengal youth will not fail us, they will not disappoint us. Here he finishes his speech with the slogan, Pakistan Zindabad. Pakistan Zindabad. Now I have brought this summary of the speech before you. Quaid-e-Azam delivered the speech at Dhaka University 21st March 1948 at the convocation ceremony. After thanking the Vice Chancellor of the university, he congratulated the students for their diplomas. He said, and I quote, "You, unlike your predecessors, breathe in an independent state. Freedom does not mean free-handed. Freedom means to work as a united and disciplined nation and have constructive spirit rather than the militant spirit of the past. It is more difficult to run a government than to go to jail or fight for freedom. The enemies of Pakistan wanted to prevent the establishment of Pakistan, but it came into being after great struggle, and the Holocaust, the bloodiest riots took place at the time of partition of Punjab and Delhi. Men, women and children were mercilessly killed, and over 50 lakh people were uprooted from their homes. India usurped to take a position of power or importance illegally by force our cash and military equipment. It is mandatory means must, to be fair and honest with the state. In this way you means you students, will be able to become an asset means help, to your country and solve economic and social problems. You need to be aware of the selfish writers and judge the honest and unselfish people. My young friends, do not wish for a government service like your predecessors, because a government servant earns less than a taxi driver, and it is very true. It's a fact even today. If you compare a Kareem driver with any of the government servant, that the Kareem driver is earning more than him, and it's a fact. So find job in public sectors like commerce, banking, law, trade, etc. You should divert your mind to technical service because new commercial firms are establishing and they need technically qualified people. There is no shame in manual work, working with your hand. You will be happy and prosperous in these fields rather than sitting in a dark room as a government clerk. A young man left government service and went into banking corporation on 200 rupees, and now after 4 years he is a manager in one of their firms and taking 1500 rupees a month. Importance of education. Education is the process to nourish the personality and modify the behavior. Some scholars say that education is life. It means that without education, life is very tough and sometimes becomes impossible. All nations have agreed on the importance of education. But what type of education is required for the nation? It is based on the vision of their well-known scholars. In this research, the critical review of First International Conference 1947 was done. The conference was attended by the great scholars, educationists, and vice chancellors of that time. As Quaid-e-Azam, the founder of Pakistan, so on that important event, Quaid sends an important message to the nation that what will be the future structure of education. He said that education should be at a right time and right type. This paper focused and highlighted important aspects and suggestions for the nation guidance and progress by education. Recommendations and suggestions were made in the light of the analysis about how a balance can be achieved among the different dimensions of personality, especially in the light of the Quaid-e-Azam's vision with the present available infrastructure and resources. The key words are education, vision, personality, behavior, structure of education. Quaid guides the nation in all fields. It's known to everyone that Pakistan came into being on 14th August 1947 on the map of the world. Quaid-e-Azam, the founder of Pakistan, was a visionary leader. While addressing the youth in Punjab Muslim Youth Federation on 31st October 1947, Quaid says, Pakistan is proud of her youth, particularly the students, who have always been in the forefront in the hour of trial and need. You are the nation's leaders of tomorrow, and you must fully equip yourself by discipline, education, training for the arduous means hard task lying ahead of you. That means students are the future of any nation. You should realize the magnitude of your responsibility and to be ready to bear it. Further, in other occasion, Quaid says you must concentrate on gaining knowledge and education. It is your foremost responsibility. Political awareness of the era is also part of your education. You must be aware of international events and environment. Education is a matter of life and death for our country. In his speech, the Quaid advised the students of Dhaka on 21st March 1948, I look forward to you as the makers of Pakistan. Do not be exploited and do not be misled. Create amongst yourself complete unity and solidarity. That should be your main occupation, your main job, being a student. Now there are some tips, students, for you people during these lockdown days, how to spend this lockdown and how to get rid of anxiety and depression. So the lockdown amid coronavirus outbreak has created a significant shift in our lifestyles. While we are learning to adapt newer ways of living, many of us are also struggling to fight with uncertainty, anxiety, and loneliness as well. The current situation may prove even harsher for students who were gearing up to begin their college life after their board exam, just like you people. Like you were so enthusiastic to join your college life or how to enjoy your first year, and students who are already pursuing higher education programs but missing on their campus life due to the lockdown. Institutions are putting their best foot forward to ensure that education of their students continue in the best possible manner, and they have all the support they need. From online classes to personalized mentoring sessions and even virtual live concerts, institutions are trying to keep students engaged and productive. However, students also have an important role to play when it comes to taking care of their mental health and overcome issues related to anxiety and stress. Here are the few things that students should strive for while coping with the lockdown. Be kind to yourself this time. Definitely this time will pass and things will get back to nearer normalcy soon. So don't get too stressed and try to engage yourself in things that you enjoy. It is a new experience to stay at home. Try to find some interesting things to do and also interesting people to connect with. Take time out to connect with your family and friends as well. In unprecedented situations like extreme anxiety, pressure, and loneliness, call for immediate help. If your institute has introduced online counseling sessions, do not hesitate in taking to a counselor. This will help in distracting from the negative thoughts and create a much positive environment. Be adaptive to new ways of learning. Many colleges are gearing up for the future of education, like our own college as well. Online platforms has proved to be a successful model for the ones who have implemented them. The world has changed and you have to be agile enough to keep up with it. There are a lot of benefits to online learning. You can learn from where you want, often when you want, and possibly from experts around the world. You will have access to people you may not have learned from in a face to face situation. Engage with your mentor, your teachers. In these times of uncertainty, the guidance of mentors is equally important. Through platforms like WhatsApp, students should constantly stay in touch with their mentors. They could be their teachers, career counselors, or lifelong mentors. Share your concerns, ask questions about how you could do better, take feedback wherever possible. Yes, the lockdown has made it difficult to meet people face to face, but it has made it much easier to meet your mentors online, and they have more time for you as well. Wear your creative hat. Every day we hear stories of how students are contributing their bit in the fight against coronavirus. Be it a fashion student developing cost effective facial shields, come masks for healthcare workers in the community, or engineering students developing a robot prototype that can replace sanitation workers in hospitals. Think of ways as to how you can contribute and utilize your free time to develop or execute your ideas. Make things at home. Try your hand at painting, cooking, gardening, making short videos. You never know how creative you actually are. Treat this lockdown as a gift, a time given to you to reflect, recharge, explore, and maybe recast your life. You will never get this time again, so try to use it as best as possible and treat yourself, everyone's in a way. Allah Hafiz. Take care. Take very good care of your family, friends, parents. Allah Hafiz.